Welcome back to the PHOTOMAFIA podcast. We have John here from Brooklyn Brownie. Introduce yourself, John.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm John from Brooklyn Brownie. As you can hear, I'm a native UK person, but originally from Brooklyn. Moved over here back in 2004, and haven't been doing Brooklyn Brownie since then. Brooklyn Brownie started in 2019, but worked in the creative media space professionally for 17 years or so. Guest lectured around the country, did a lot of beta testing for Adobe, and also for high-end compositing systems, and also a licensed bodyguard, a professional Mr. T lookalike, traveled the world for 2 years with a team who was on Britain's Got Talent. Do a lot of random shit.
Nice, well done.
That was a longer list than I was expecting. Damn.
I did forget that you did the Mr. T impersonation as well.
A weird one, weird. But so 2019 for Brooklyn Brownie, also younger than I expected as well. In my head, it's been around for a while, but also I'm not that old either, so I don't remember. So 2019, was that 5-6 years ago now?
Yeah, about 5 years.
So actually really young. And you were talking to Alex just before the podcast about how it came about with some was it some contractors you were working with? Or
No, that was how we 2022 we realized we needed to open back up because whole world changed back again. We were like, we're not gonna get a shop, we're not gonna get one of these dark kitchens, because we went out looking for space for that, and we were getting some crazy quotes, and we're going into places that were technically a garage. We're like, okay. So I'd walk in, and landlord was there, and I was like, cool. So this is where my kitchen is going to be, and is that going to be that? And then he's like, no, you just get the space. You need to put all that in. So I was thinking, okay, I need to put 40 to 50 grams worth of stuff into your space. I'm just going to do it at my place. You know what I mean? We've been baking this amount of volume ever since. I was like, we'll just take one of our outbuildings, which was our garage, and just convert it. To which we did. It's been mad ever since. So that bolted on the ability for collections and a schedule type of system for customers. And then we have the food truck for events, and we still do just selling. Like we just finished the Valentine's Day boxes. Those were great, really went well on social media. But yeah, we have 3 strings to the bow. It works really well.
Yeah, because I feel like most people recognize the ambulance as kind of become a bit of an icon in the town at this point.
Bloody thing. That was designed by Leo and inspired by him as well. It was weird because he's a Brit, but he loves everything American. And he went during the lockdown. He was like, "You should get a food truck, Dad." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." looking online. Then we found this crazy guy out in Surrey, Jim, and we were able to go out there and see him and stuff. We went all masked up and stuff, and all that nonsense. And he showed us all the food trucks he had, and he did things for like Nerf. He did things for like Nando's, like really big things. But he knew our background, he knew our story, and he just said, "Come sneak out, bros, and let me show you some stuff." And he showed us some cool things, and we missed out on a few because the cool thing about Jim was he said, "Look, I don't want you guys to put down a deposit." He's one of these guys, he's a family guy. He said, "I don't need money. We're in a pandemic. I don't know what the heck's going to happen next week." Because we were like, "Okay, cool, here's 10 grand. And he was like, "No, I ain't taking it. Let's wait and see." He said, "Because I'm not even going to be able to have a team come in and work on it yet. So hold on to your cash and let's see how the world works." So missed out on a few trucks because other people, larger businesses came in, grabbed them, like, "Yeah, we'll work on them on our site." We didn't have a site. We just had our driveway. His ethics are awesome, and the cool thing is he found that up in Scotland in a shipping container, and all in all, to have it towed down to him in Surrey, it was like 800 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's the whole for the vehicle and the tow. You know what I mean? It was mad. And then pretty much everything else in it was built, and it ran. They turned over everything else. So it just needed a few tweaks. I know there was issues with the transmission, but yeah, for them to build it to what it was, what we designed, it is pretty much from paper to what they made. Really impressive. Well, and then the fact that we're part of the Discovery Channel TV show, it's nuts. That really helps when we go to like car fest and stuff.
That's really cool. It's mad what you can find, isn't it? It's like, was it the tank that you and Felix found? you found a tank on eBay or something. I was like, dirt cheap. I was like,
marketplace.
Like you can get
mad,
the fact that you can get a vehicle like that is insane.
Country.
But
this guy when was it 2010 or 11? When I was doing Mr. T stuff still, when fresh. Who did it? It wasn't Vodafone. It was one of these phone companies. They were selling a gold phone, so Mr. T needed to go and sit in front of a gold tank. And they took me to Tanks a Lot. You ever been to that place yet? Up in Northamptonshire. It's called Tanks a Lot. And
is that out of Northampton? Okay, it's going to sound really... I don't just spend my life Googling for tanks, but I was on their website. They've done like...
they've done everything.
Yeah, they've done loads of stuff.
He did the grenade tank, everything else. My buddy, Andy, he bought their tank from them. He owns Grenade. And then he pretty much does all the tanks for everybody. Whenever he does like whenever you see in London, there's some kind of demonstration. He takes his tanks out into London. It's just like, it's bad. Like,
it's insane.
It's crazy. But his backstory is crazy.
Yeah.
He bought each one of those tanks for like 100 quid. Yeah.
Damn.
So he went out to Russia one day when he was like broke. I think he got redundancy day or something. Right. He went out there with like a big amount of money, and he was just like, all right, and it was scrap. It was just pretty much like take.
Just left.
And he was like, they're like brand new tanks. And he was like, okay. He just bought a ton of them and just had them shipped back to the UK on this huge farmland. And then they do like these event days. Awesome. Wow. You ain't getting a tank now for that price then.
I know.
But way back when he did it,
Wow. Russia's a gold mine. All this time.
That's
wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize they were based out in Northampton either. Which is another classic. Oh, something you see and then it turns out it's on our doorstep.
It's on our doorstep. I think it's like 20 miles away.
That's wild.
It seems to be I don't know whether you've found this compared to like other places, but Northampton seems to be a place that has everything. You just don't know it's there half the time.
It's been so stressful with that. We found that with digital, my original thing, and also then with food. The amount of things you go, oh, I didn't know that existed.
Yeah.
We didn't know we had one of the large gin producers or whatever else. And you're just like, this is crazy. And Northampton has really got a lot of hidden gems. I just think more people need to scream about it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in the UK, you guys aren't good at blowing your own horn. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, well, somebody will find me in this corner. It's like, well, no, you're not, bro. You're just going to die in that corner. I'm not saying be like annoying and out there, but definitely talk up what you do. And there's some beautiful things that are created out in this place.
Absolutely.
And it just gets overlooked.
Yeah.
I've almost stopped going into London as much because there's so much food here, like good food in Northamptonshire. That doesn't get talked.
Yeah, and I feel like if you go to London, you're kind of taken over by like the Camden Market. It's just filled with it.
Trash.
In it. Like it is garbage. Literally, it is trash. Like the amount of like shit that they like the Yorkshire pudding one. I'm kind of like,
I get it.
I get it. It's like it's a Yorkshire pudding wrap. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, York burrito or whatever the heck it's called. It's just like we got it. Yeah. We can do it better, you know what I mean? Because you can have the better cuts and everything else. You can make sure what you like is in it. But once again, it's influencers are pushing you here, there, and everywhere. And then in the food space, we've realized how deceptive that is very quickly because we've been in contact by so many influencers and oh, we can help you do this, and then we've got or we raised our numbers to a certain level. It was almost like they wanted us to become influencers. It's you can come to this party and you can show off this. And I'm just like, yeah, but that food's shit. I mean, like, why am I going to do that? Because like I wouldn't even eat that like if you paid me. So like I go to my buddy's place, which is so much better. But then you see how people just sell their brand for good money. You know what I mean? It's mad.
It's wild.
I think with food as well, there's a lot of people that don't really know what good food is.
Yeah.
So there's like the bar's pretty low. I mean, I didn't realize like brutally, but like Northampton's known as like on paper. I found it the other day. It's known as a food swamp, which is like there's in theory no good restaurants or producers, even though there is, which comes down to that thing. Find them. It's just like hidden away somewhere, and no one tells you, or it's like they're promoting their product not within Northampton. They're trying to go past it and ignoring it, which then causes further issues. But like the town itself, like most people, it's like supermarkets or like stuff from various other places, which also
100%
kind of causes these issues where even when you go to stuff, you're like, oh, maybe they have some good stuff here. Like Camden Market always get shouted about as like loads of food, and you walk around, you're like, yeah, but like, or even like Borough Market, it's like every stall's dead except for the one selling like chocolate strawberries for £200 for 5, and it's like, is this really what we're doing? Like that's like,
because TikTok told me to buy it. Basically, it's just like it's insane. You unfortunately you get stuck in that ecosystem of like trends. Yeah, and we realize that. I've been like, all right, let's go with it, even though it's everything I'm against. It has helped allow people to find us. So it's kind of like, okay, if we just tack on this one product, like let's just say that new Dubai chocolate pistachio crap.
Right.
And it's crap. I'll tell you that. The same thing can be done with the Rice Krispie treats. It's a texture thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they need enough to toast the knauf and all this other BS. This is basically shredded phyllo pastry. That's it. And it's a great mouthfeel when you bite it, or you mix it with any type of cream or paste. And like I said, you could get that similar mouthfeel with Rice Krispies. And it's a lot quicker to do, throw it in tea bakes and get it going. But because everybody on TikTok is eating this green moss, everybody's like, oh, I need that. So we went, fine, we'll do the strawberries, but we'll do them our way. Because the thing is, if you go to Borough Market, like you said, and you see people buy that stuff, they use melting chocolate, which when it solidifies, it's disgusting. How the hell are you now you're jamming your forehead, fighting with a strawberry to get it out. And I'm just like, well, number one, I'm pretty frank about how we do things, and like you could save money by making it more of a syrup. It'll taste better because people will like it, and be able to eat it because you get the same chocolate taste. It doesn't solidify, and you'll be able to pretty much half your price because you'll be able to add oils or whatever else to make it more of a syrup. But no, they don't think that way. They're just like, all right, cool, let's do this, and then you have this coagulated piece of crap at the end of it. When it gets hard. That is just like, when you see other TikTokers, when they see the final product, you're like, oh, it's been 10 minutes later. And it's like, think of this like rock hard popsicle. And they have like suck on. You're like, oh, this is terrible. So when we saw people doing that, we went, no, we'll do it with syrups because we can utilize that for our waffles and everything else. We'll make the knauf a little bit looser, so it's not like a chunky thing. And it's gone down a storm. But the thing is, when people have come down and found us for that, they go, oh my God, you do all these other things. And we're like, hey, it's Brooklyn Brownie. Like a reason, you know what I mean? We sell brownies and other stuff, bro. So yeah, it's a good way to introduce your product to a new market. And also the OGs who come around, they're like, oh, that's cool. I might grab that. You know what I mean? It gives them a little something. So whenever something new comes out, we vet it. We tell the audience what it's actually worth. And if you want to buy it, come on down and grab it. What's the matter?
And I guess the biggest difference is like, because it is very easy to send hate on social media and things like that. So the direction you could have gone is just like put up a story being like, this shit fucking sucks, and then just like moved on with your life. But you've took it to the next step of like, okay, here's the solution. Is now basically see how we do it.
As another product. Yeah, exactly. That was the same thing we did with the Korean donuts, milk donuts, because that was hot for maybe like 2 months. When the summer comes around again, it'll be hot again. So in London, there was maybe 3 or 4 places that were doing them. And essentially, it's a cream bun.
Okay.
This is a cream bun. And because I do TikTok lives, I pretty much dissected it all live, created the cream, did everything else. And I was like, this is not worth the money. I was just as straight as it's not worth the money. So this is identical to what they make in London. You have to get out to London to buy this thing as well. Most of you guys who are on TikTok are showing off what you just bought. It's a day out in London, so you have to think about that price, your train ticket, everything else. And I was like, it's just not worth it. So I said, how can we make it better? And this was all on live, so people were talking to me, I'll put this in, put that in. So we developed this whole new bun that I'm happy with selling. That we're happy with selling. There's certain things that we just won't sell if it's not valued for money or if it doesn't work for us ethically. And finally we create a product I'm happy with. But yeah, I personally wouldn't go out to London and buy one of those things. Because you're buying a cream bun, essentially. It's a joke. Similar thing with the baked ice cream sandwiches. There's a place in, I think, London who focuses on that. And now it doesn't make sense. We did a whole video with that, with the fact that they just put a brioche bun. Brioche bun's fine because it's a cousin to a donut. It's a similar thing to bloody donut. Same thing we utilized. But they were putting soft serve in it, and then they were crimping it in the crimper think about it. Soft ice cream now being heated up. It's just going to be a runny old mess, bro, with nothing else. So I looked at that and I was like, that's diabolical. Even before we were doing it better. We were one of the first people that brought it because we saw Disney were doing it.
Yeah.
So we brought it to the country first. And I was like, okay, cool. But Disney, I was like, even Disney was a bit whack. But I thought, oh, they're doing something interesting. They're utilizing hard scoop ice cream. So that's what we did from the beginning.
Okay.
But when we made our first one, I was like, this is trash. Even if I went to Disney, this is trash because there's nothing in it. It's just ice cream in a freaking bun. So I was like, all right, we got to put a brownie in it. Then we have to put corresponding flavors in it. So we have to put Oreos in it. Or, you know, if you're doing an Oreo one, or if you're doing a Bueno one, you have to put Buenos in it. You have to put the sauces in it. Then you have to cut it in half. Then you have to resauce. And you have to put I was like, you have to make a dessert. This isn't just some Frisbee. To which everybody loves. They're just like, wow, this is working crazy. This is how it's supposed to taste. And I was like, yes. Supposed to taste. But you're not supposed to be ripping off, basically. It's our ethos, man. You're going to eat something really good when you're with us.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the food space sort of transform? Because obviously 2019, that's pre-pandemic. So it seems like since the pandemic, there's been a lot more focus on like health foods and things like that. Have you felt that impact on Brooklyn Brownie? So you're in a slightly different space.
We were a little bit worried about that. You know what I mean? Number one, we were worried when the world opened back up. We could go pop or whatever else, but we kind of pre-planned, like I said, with the events, and we pre-planned that we were still going to do distance selling. Distance selling has receded quite a bit, but when I talk to a lot of my friends, it's the same thing all over. But the thing is, the difference is we have three different things. We have distance selling, we have the events, and we have the fact that we can do the breeds and people could come and collect and things of that nature, kind of a shop front system. And we have wholesale. So we stock quite a few people around town and out of town as well. So that works well. So you have four different things. The guys who just focus on a singular distance selling thing, a good amount of my friends who I met online and during the pandemic have gone pop, or they've had to go back to their day job. So that's quite sad. So I think you always have to diversify slightly if you can in the field that you're in, just to make sure that an income stream is going to come in at some point. So yeah, we definitely future-proofed with that. But the health side of things, we did think about it. But then I said, right, with that, it doesn't really work for us. It just doesn't. You know, Brooklyn Brownie is an indulgent luxury product. And there's no way around it saying that this is good for you. I've never said it's good for you. It tastes amazing. You know what I mean? Just like a pot of Häagen-Dazs does. Yeah. And you know the value of Häagen-Dazs. You know, it costs more than others. You know what I mean? And that's the region that we're going to be in. We're never going to go, this is a protein, whatever. No, just go work out, eat your single brownie a week. That's about it. Because they freeze. You know, they freeze up to like 2 months. So pop them in the freezer if you get a 12-pack or a 6-pack, whatever else. You don't eat every one every night. You know what I mean? It's just like eat one once a week or whatever else. If you do, if you're a marathon runner or you go and take, 5K run every day, then maybe you get a half of one every night. But I never recommend people eating it every day. You'd be mad. You know what I mean? But it's a luxury product. But the thing was, how do we market a luxury product that's not needed? You know what I mean? You have to have your following understand your journey, and you have to keep in touch with them. You have to show them things that are value for money, because when we launched our half-pound cookie, when I set the price point to some people, people walking out, oh, what the hell, a 7-pound cookie? And I'm just like, yeah, it's a 7-pound cookie, but it tastes better than the majority of them out there. It is an authentic New York City cookie. It's a hell of a lot different than everybody else has on the market, and it is half-pound. You know what I mean? It is a real half-pound. It's actually over half-pound. So it's only true that you can cut it in half, 2 people could eat it. You actually cut it in 4. 4 people could actually eat it. And then once again, it tastes fantastic. You don't have to get on a plane to go to New York to get it. You get it here. So yeah, it works. People buy it. Not even a question. We go through events, and those go first before the brownies. It's very interesting, the dynamic. That is interesting. I was initially, I thought, it's Brits. We're in a bit of a recession. That says 7 pound on the front. Nope. I'll take the big cookie. It's that big. It's like
if you're saying people split it in 4 as well, that breaks down to what?
Exactly. 100%.
Like £1 something each suddenly as like,
Yeah.
Brownies is however much for one person serving. So I think in that way, yeah, Brits are cheap. So no, I think you are.
I think it works well. I think people even with their eyes and they go, "Oh, that's big.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
That's worth it.
100%.
Especially when you're at events, because I imagine you're at stuff where people are on days out and stuff. You know what I mean? It's not as though you're on the market square or on someone catching people on their way to their office or something. They're on days where they're probably already, you know,
plan to spend
they
X
said
amount.
we're going to spend this much, we're going to do this and that. So as long as you're well in that. How have you found it, like, dealing with Brits?
Yeah, like what's your the transition period?
Ooh. I guess we could go back to when I first came to the country in 2004 and actually start working in digital space. The corporate side of things was very strange. You know, it wasn't what I was used to, you know. This is very strange. You guys say a lot of shit, but look what you actually mean. I'm not smart. You know, I'm used to, like, I was used to going into my office and I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm having a barbecue on Saturday. Bring some sixes, let's chill. Back in New York. And half the buddies will come. Or most, whole office will freaking turn up. In this country, you can't get your neighbor to come over for 12 years. You know what I mean? It's just like, you go, oh yeah, we're gonna have a barbecue. Oh really? When is it? Oh, it's in 2 weeks. Oh, okay, I'll check my data. And then it's just like, that day goes past. Then you, oh, we'll have another thing. Oh, we should do that. That's a good idea. So, and you're and just like, what the hell? We should do what? But it is a British thing, because the thing is, in the offices, the foreigners, they come. You know what I mean? Like the Polish, Romanian guys, and everything else. They're like, oh, you having a barbecue, John? Like, yeah. What kind of barbecue? America, dude. Well, I'm in America. Like, okay, what time? Saturday, 3 o'clock. Cool. Bro, Saturday at 3 o'clock. Bang, 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 bang. They bring beer and they bring meat. You just like,
perfect.
All right.
Ideal.
Cool, let's go. That's it. And they'll be chatting, respectful, chilled out, you know what I mean? And off they go after like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. But yeah, I was just like, damn, this is so refreshing. I just wish the locals would be into it. You know what I mean? But they're not. But then I'm on Facebook, and then I'll get a whole bunch of these people on my feed. I got like 3,000 friends, and they're just like, oh, I just wish there was more community. Oh, I just wish. I was like, I wish you just fucking give them more barbecue. Like, I invited you, but apparently not.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, like, when my nan was younger, community was huge. Like, but now it's just like,
it's gone.
It's just like, like, oh, I can't be asked to go out. Oh, it'll happen again some other point. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, people like the idea of a community when it's something they get to show off that they went to.
Yeah.
So it's also a thing of like, if it's like a thing that they think they're going to get to do again in 2 weeks, or it's like not a once in a lifetime thing. I think Brits get a little bit like, there'll be another barbecue at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they do also, I think it doesn't cross people's minds that like, you've gone out of your way to like, put something on.
100%.
So it's like, if no one comes, it's basically, well, more for you, right? But still, it's like,
yeah, exactly.
But it's the back end of that people don't appreciate, because it's like here in Northampton, where a lot of people have that attitude of like, well, it's in Northampton, so it's going to be shit. And it's like, yeah, but imagine if you just all went.
Yeah, you make it a vibe, dude. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like the classic thing of like, oh, that pub looks dead, let's not go there. And it's just like, well, you're a group of 15 people and it's a small pub. Like, if we're all there and there's a few other people who look like they're having an all right time, like, it should be all right. But then again, no one talks to each other. So even in a pub of 300 people, it's like separate small groups.
But that's the only thing I really noticed. It's gotten slightly better. But then again, you find your tribe. You find people who chat, who want to communicate, who want to work together. And yeah, you stumble across these people in the food space or in digital. And you keep in touch with them. That's all I could say. I mean, even in the entertainment, you'd see people who go out on stage and be great, like amazing. You're like, wow, they really can work a room and joke and bring people up on stage and quick. But then they get off that stage and almost like a bulb was turned off, and you're like, well, you wouldn't want to go and eat with that person. It's just like, oh, this is real awkward. And we're standing backstage with this individual, and they're just like, they're giving us eye contact. You know, this is just weird. So yeah, unfortunately, there's also people who put on a weird persona. But yeah, man, you just gotta find your tribe, make it work. My partner's grandma, because we went to hers for Sunday dinner, you guys call it, over here. So we went there, and it's true. She talks about all the things that her and her husband is doing, because he's 88 and she's like 80. And they're like, so nice, you left your door unlocked, and you know, your friends will just pop in and have a cup of tea for an hour. And I was like, oh yeah, it's interesting. I would say the reality of that is, and not to sound disparaging to any communities or anything, because in this country I realized it's socioeconomical and class. You guys do that bullshit with class. Doesn't make sense for me. Yeah, it's weird, bro. The amount of things I've been able to do and people I've talked with. I was like dancing with some like Duke at a party one day, and everyone's like, "I missed a Duke," and I was like, "Can you break dance, bro?" I'm dressed as Mr. T, you know what I mean? And he's like, "Oh, well, too lovely is that?" It's just like, whatever. If you're a decent human, we're gonna have some fun. But yeah, it's, I would say, what they call on this one, common people, or I guess the council estate people.
Yeah,
I think the door's open still, and their friends pop in, pop out. And I'm just like, you know, we'd go to some friend's place that Leo would have from school, and, you know, I'd chill for a little bit, just make sure it's all right. And yeah, you'd see their friends, mom's friends coming over, having a cup of tea, chin wagging, doing their thing. Oh, how's this? How's Brooklyn Brownie? And they were going off and talking and communicating. Oh, we got to come down to your shop. All right, cool. Yeah, I heard about it. In a way, you know, you're in sales, you're networking. But they're still communicating and they're having fun, and people down the road are coming in and stuff. And I'm just like, why is it we're in more of a suburbia, or known as middle class, and we're not doing that? Why can't we go to that little party or that barbecue? Or, you know, if parents loathing going to their toddler's friend's birthday party. They're like, I don't want to go, but I have to because I've gotten this little invite. And it's just like, bro, go. You know,
enjoy it.
You know, get back to the roots, dude. I think we're getting sicker with mental health because we're not communicating. You know, as a nation. Definitely. It's quite sad. Because a lot of things could be solved with just a little chin wag, dude. You just share your stress with something, and then they can actually go, oh, just listening helps people because they unburden themselves.
It's so interesting because it's like you can compare it to big events like coronation. When my nan was young, when the Queen was coronated, I had her coronation. They'd have tables in the middle
street,
of the road. Do you know what I mean? Well, coronation happened. How long has the king been king? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like
2.5 years or something like that.
Like no one did that. Do you know what I mean? It's I find it so.
Most people didn't even. I mean, you could see it on the news, like the news trying to be like important moment. And it's like, I can see the pictures behind you. You're the only ones there. Like it's empty. You can try and make this thing look bigger, but like, bro, like I think that's more just like sign of the times, right? It's like people have kind of lost that interest in them for whatever reason,
basically. Because at your fingertips, you're just like, oh, what's going on in London? Oh, what's going on over here? Oh, what's going on in America? Oh, that looks great. Kanye just said this. It's just, you know, what does your little town mean to you anymore? Not really much, unfortunately. I think people were more invested in their little area before.
Well, I guess their little area now is on your phone, right? Because you can tailor it to be exactly what you want to look at, exactly what, and it's like, people want things here, but it's like being invited to your toddler's birthday party. It's like, well, I'm good friends with Mike and Steve, but Mike and Steve aren't going to that, so I don't really know who these guys are, and it's not going to be as good as with Mike and Steve, you know what I mean? So it's like, we experience it with exhibitions, like we put on something we think is rad, and we're like, this is perfect, but people are like, I only really like black and white pictures of landscapes, and this is slightly different than that, so I'm going to miss this one. And it's like, okay, and like the same with like other events or like things that, or like, oh, there's a band on at the pub. Oh, it might be a laugh. I don't know who they are. I'm into this one band, and that's well, I could just listen to that on my headphones. So why am I going to see this other band that isn't to my taste? As before, people didn't have that luxury, so it was like, what's in front of us? Find something that's still in their lane of interest. Like, I'm not saying just go to shit you think is like awful, but people are a bit more demanding. Like the same Netflix versus TV. People used to watch fucking whatever was on Netflix. It's like, I watch the one show that's I'm interested in, and then like you don't stumble across things on Netflix, because it then is like, you watch this one thing and said you liked it, here's the 5 other shows we know you'll like.
Yeah.
And then people's tastes get more and more kind of like niche.
Yeah.
Until it's like, until it goes too far, right? And then you're looking for like, it's like there's one show I like and I just watch it on loop for ages because
or crap like it. It's just nuts, man. It's like if you grab somebody else's phone and they let you have it and you scroll their TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like, you're a sociopath. What is this, man? What is this crap? It is interesting when you go, like my partner, when I grab her phone or whatever, she's like, oh, look at this. So I'm like, what is this, man? But then, like, she says the same thing when she's on my Facebook Marketplace. She's like, why is, like, you getting, like, hamburger statues? I'm just like, I don't know. This is weird, I guess. This is how it's curated my feeds. But, yeah, it's algorithm is terrible. But, it is, unfortunately, addictive. But, yeah, I think we need to get out of that and just get back to talking friendly.
Yeah.
This weekend I took Leo to a friend of ours. He used to work in Coventry, not Coventry, is it Coventry? No. Starts with the C. It's the next town over. It's got doesn't it? It's got a film. It's got the film house. It's Northampton Sheer. I forget the name of it.
Coventry is the next like city.
It's the next city, but no, it's
a town. It's not Chipping Norton.
No. But yeah, he used to work there. And pretty much 20 miles away from us. He used to work from us, but now he's in London, other side of London, near Essex. And he's got a shop. He opened a shop, build and bake. So he's been around since 2018. It's more of a sweet potato brownie, so it's more protein, health based. We've done a couple of collaborations together. I watched him grow. He went from like once again at his house, and then he went to like a little factory type thing. And now he opened up a proper fully fledged shop. And I was like, sick. We gotta go see him. And it was like 120 miles. But we went out there, saw him, had a chat with him and his fiance, saw how great they're doing. They're really smashing it. You're amazing. But yeah, it's just like, it was nice. It was worth doing it. And he was like messaging afterwards. It's like, bro, I'm so grateful that you took your time. But I think it's neat. You have to do these things, I mean, if you're somebody who continues to go on about like networking and friends and things of that nature, you gotta make the effort, you definitely gotta make the effort. That was cool. We went out there, saw his place, lovely place, gave some ideas and tips, some things that might work. As he's looking at ice cream machines and things like that, we've got one. And it was just refreshing to finally meet him. It took him moving all the way over there to meet him in all these years. But and even his fiance was like, this is so dumb. I was gonna like met when he was down the road. And I was like, yeah, but like we were both really busting our ass working that. But yeah, it was just really nice to see him properly come up because it's a proper shop front and everything else. They're doing well. But that's what we did, man. I was going crazy because my buddy up in Newcastle, Andy, he does Kahuna Cookie, and he's opening a burger place. So he's pivoted into like proper food now, and he's opening a burger place. He's got the whole joint set up, and he was like, he sent me an invite about a week ago, and it's for like this weekend. I'm like Andy, man, your freaking timings are so crap. I was like, you're building this place, you had to have some visibility, and he was just like, I'm sorry, bro. I was like, we're booked. I was like, we're about to do something with a food truck, bro. I can't. I was like, I feel so angry because I want to support you. And he was like, oh, but you'll come up sometime. I was like, yeah, definitely. But fuck, I wanted to come to your opening. So I got to figure out like a gift box or something up or something like that. But this is what we did. If we have friends, we're going to be there for you. I don't care where you are, man.
Absolutely.
I think people need to do that.
Too right. Too right.
Well, I think that's the other maybe British thing is like, the next town over thing. Like no one wants to travel further than like we don't travel like other countries do, whether that's because we're smaller or just the roads are shit, so you just get stuck in places. But like
because in America you guys just travel. Go from one state to another and you're just like fuck it. And then you realize how far it actually is and you're like, oh shit! Like
the drive across Texas, you're like, what?
Yeah, you're basically like, it's like from here to Scotland, and I'm like, what?
That was the thing of the summer. We had place in, what's it called, the Lakes? You guys call it the Lakes?
Like Lakes District?
Yeah, Lake District,
Yeah, so I went up there, I drove up there. My partner was like, oh, she's cool. Me and Leo going around with her. Like, oh, let's go to this. Like, she has all these, like, pins where we should go. And after a while, I was like, oh, my God, this is fucking Lakes. I was like, yeah, people like talking. I was like, it's like, it's going to be tomorrow. It's like, I guess it's going to be another lake. I was like, yeah, you're saying that lake. You can't see the And I was like, who wants to go to Scotland? And he's like, yeah, me. Like, Maggie was like, oh, Scotland? And I was like, yeah, let's just go up for the day.
Yeah.
And she was like, it's like so far. And I was like, yeah. I just said, who wants to go? I'm driving, so let's do it. So zipped up there, went to see those big horse heads.
Yeah.
And then because I wanted to see those forever. And then went over to see some like weird bridge thing. There was like some amazing engineering things. Then we went over to, and I was like, sweet, man. And then we zipped back down to our place, and I was like, yeah, it was a whole day's thing, but we got to see all this shit, cool stuff. But I was like, there are a lot of Brits who, when I tell them that, they're like, you went from there to Scotland?
Well, using the word zipped up there and zipped back is like not terminology you would use for that sort of trip.
No, it was like 100 miles. I'm like, it was like from where we were. I was like, if I do it from our house, it's a little bit more of a trek. I could do it, but it's like a little bit more of a trek. But I was like, we're here already. Let's go. But her mind was just like, but then after she did, she was like, oh, yeah. Maybe we should do some more stuff like that. And I was like, why not, dude?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
I feel a lot of people, they just pre-plan if they're going to do it. Like, they go, I've got to get the right mentality to go up to Scotland now. So, and you're like, okay, fine. And then they do it. But, that's pretty wild.
Can't travel.
I was going to say as well, like, that's going back to that whole, like, community idea that it's like people feel as though, like, well, if I'm attaching myself to the town, I can only know people within the town, and then there's a whole like, what's this guy here who's not from it? Sort of thing. It's like, it's all kind of bullshit, right? It's the same reason that people think like, I've got to like get out of the town if I want to do anything, and that's equally not true in the age of the internet, where it's like you can have friends all over the world and still find ways to work and communicate and help each other without having to be like on their doorstep, which is issues. And like you said, you can travel that distance like most of the time. It's the world's
the water or anything. It's just traveling up a few roads, you're done.
And I think people get bogged down, like simultaneously complain there's nothing here, but also like limit themselves to what's in like the immediate vicinity as well.
I think that's the thing. I guess working collaboratively and always with teams in my world of digital and creative, it's just how I am. I was always putting together teams of people that I would like to work with, or I know skill sets, and we can make a project happen and then get a certain outcome. And the same thing I was hoping to pivot into the food industry and do, but it isn't as, I guess, collaborative. Unfortunately, a lot of people see it as either you're a competitor or whatever else, where me and Leo's ethos is you're a coworker. You're just a different branch or whatever else, or you're just doing, you're a baker, you know what I mean? Or you're doing this, or doing that, or you're a food producer. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people go, oh no, you're going to steal my customers, or you're going to do whatever. And well, we know how many people are in Northampton, around 245,000. With the amount of people that we have following us, we only know maybe we've tapped maybe 2% of that. We want to raise that margin this year a little bit more, and then slowly it'll hopefully organically build on its own. We have utilized different ways of doing that, traditional media, our digital presence, and everything else. And it's worked well, but no matter how much you think you've done, there's always somebody who goes, oh, what's this Brooklyn Brownie thing? You can't take that personally. We realized that with Britain's Got Talent when I was on that, because when we look on YouTube, you've got collectively, I think, over 100 million views. We know when Britain's Got Talent in 2010 was on, it was one of the top rated shows, but then you kind of go, oh yeah, we were on as the Chip and Doubles or whatever else. And because you were in that moment, you kind of went, oh, what, you didn't see it or whatever else? But you kind of go, well, no, there were only 5 million people viewing it that night. You know what I mean? There's 45 million in the country at that time. So, mate, get off your high horse. And as there were 7 of us, that was the best thing about having a group of 7. We used to destroy each other. Anytime somebody thought they had an ego, oh, you're going to be crying by the end of this discussion. So we all kept each other in check. And with that, when we pivoted into our other businesses or whatever else, we kind of went, yeah, we just got to do better. We just got to make sure everybody knows us, or just see everybody as a fresh person and just, introduce yourself, what you do, your product. Maybe at some point the person will cut you off and go, oh yeah, my cousin uses you. And then you kind of go, sweet, I've won half the battle. Now I'm going to continue to pitch it. But yeah, just don't take it for granted that, or expect people to know what you are. Just because you've got X amount of 1,000 followers and whatever. Yeah. Because I can guarantee, mate, you haven't hit that person.
No, absolutely. No, you're definitely right.
Yeah. Well, I think the numbers are like misleading as well, right? Because you can have however many thousand, but that's not necessarily like
in your area.
Yeah. Because some of them aren't real people, and some of them are like across the world and are like watching from afar for whatever reason. But much, it's it tends to inflate it massively because it's like. Yeah, that's just how it goes. But when you see that image, you're like, oh, that's everyone, right?
Yes.
Because you assume it means like people from here, distance-wise.
Yes.
So that's everyone on the street, surely. But it's like the amount of people we even have come in here to use the studio, and they're like,
didn't know this existed.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, where do you live then? You've like from far, and they're like, turns out they're like across the road. Yeah. And it's like, well, you must have seen like the lights on or something, surely. Like, but it's wild. And they're like, no, they had no idea. And then was just Googling, and then was like, oh, well, why? Like that sort of thing. So yeah, it's strange like that. But yeah, because you're in it, you're like, it becomes your world a little bit.
It's your little world, and you go, oh man, like everybody should know about this. With us, with the Hatch, we had like a couple of new customers come by about 3 weeks ago, and they lived in the houses just behind us.
Yeah.
And they were like, we didn't even know this happened. It was like, one of the kids kept coming back and forth with ice cream, and we were like, where are you getting that ice cream from? And they're like, oh, there's a place, there's Brooklyn Brownie right over there. And like, one of the parents didn't believe. They just thought, oh, this is a weird situation. So they followed the kid, and they were like, oh my God. They like had a chat with me, like, oh, you got the food check? And then it started to click. They're like, oh, I remember back in the beginning of the pandemic, we were in the paper, right? And we were like, yes. And then they're like, so it's refreshing, or just introducing to you to potential customers again, and just never taking it as like, I guess, as a bad thing. That you just have to realize, okay, I just gotta either spend to make sure that people notice me, do maybe a few freebies, or do something to get noticed. Unfortunately, it's something that everybody is struggling with. I know that unfortunately we all look at the mega brands and we kind of. But they do it so well. Yeah, but their pockets are endless, man. Coke, Nike, I mean, it's anything. They just piles of money. They could do anything. And unfortunately, that's why they could just saturate the world.
Pretty much,
yeah, we're just micro compared.
But it takes like a few times to get stuck in someone's head, right? 100%. It's like they probably forgot about seeing your article in the pandemic, because it's like one time they go, oh, that's cool. But also people are like, in the sort of smaller space as well, people go, well, I heard from them once, and I didn't really hear much again, so I assumed it would, assumed it ended, I assumed it, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make it, so it's having to constantly remind people, because as well, we've had it with the exhibition flyers in places, people, it's like, oh, I kept seeing them, and then this was the one I decided, oh yeah, I'll finally come. It took 4 for them to finally go, oh yeah, I keep seeing them. Because also I think people don't want to buy into something they think is going to go downhill. Yeah. It's like, they're like, oh, we'll see if they're still around in 6 months, and then sort of slip by. Because that's like another weird thing that happens maybe across the world, but I know in America, no, not America, England, specifically London, at the like photography degree shows.
Yes.
Is people from galleries and stuff will go around and they'll just collect up business cards and without even looking at their work. So even if you produce like the sickest piece that they should be like, oh my God, this is the future of art, they don't even look. They just go around, collect all the business cards, they put it in a box, and they leave it for 3 years. Then in 3 years they just go back through and see who's still actually trying to be an artist, because they want what they're interested in is like, okay, well, you went to uni for it, but are you just going to finish uni and then just go back to 9 to 5 or do something else? Like, we don't want to support that if you're not going to be in it for the long run.
Wow.
So it's like that thing I think applies to the public as well, where they're like, oh, okay, like you said about connecting them with the story and the growth of it. Like, people love to, you know, like a musician suddenly gets super famous, and suddenly all these people who've never mentioned it before are like, I went to their gig in 1958 and I was there on their first show, and I knew them back in the day when they were just, you know, working behind the bar. He used to serve me at the pub sort of thing. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, people like to feel like they're part of it.
Yeah.
And it's
the sad thing is that talent was always there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That talent is there. We did a similar test with that when we were doing the detainment side of things. 7 of us, we were being filmed by ITV's crew. And as soon as like they're filming us like walking around London, oh my God, people start walking behind and taking pictures, asking our like fiancés at the time and our partners, because they had to come with us at times. Who are they? What are they doing? You know, because this was before we were on Who's Got Talent, before the whole thing happened. And they were just like, oh, they might be on a TV show or whatever else. People just so fucking interested because the cameras are on these random individuals. And I said, right, let me do an experiment. Give me your cameras. So all of us dressed our lookalikes gear. So fucking Mr. T, Ricky Gervais, you know, Gordon Ramsay. We grabbed the cameras, we got the boom mics, everything else. I was like, now we're going to follow you. You crew guys. And we just did it. We just following them, filming them. And bro, within like 15 minutes, it was like people just following us. Who are they? What do they do? Like, oh, they're the next best thing, man. Whatever, just make them the most stupid stories. But people are taking pictures and get a photo with them. They get a photo with them. Our security will get in there. So Will Smith goes like, there's a security. It's just like, you people are cheap, man. This is crazy. This is crazy because I'm dressed as Mr. C. Fucking Gordon Ramsay's got the boom mic, and this is just insane. But yeah, it's just perception. Unfortunately, it's
absolutely
perception. Public perception.
We should see that. Have you seen the guy with the fake Instagram live thing? So it's it's like it's like an app where it makes it look like it's got and it's just like he just uploads the compilations of people just flipping when they realize there's people in there, and they're like, oh my God, it's
let him into this club, bottle service, everything else. Suddenly, you know, he's the most desirable thing in the room. It's quite sad,
and it's like completely artificial, and it's like, it's that easy, which is why like something like you were talking about, like the big brands earlier, is because they can pay to have that appearance. People buy into it, which is the stuff that, you know, smaller businesses on the like small and like micro level, you have to be a little bit, not devious, that's the wrong word, but a little bit smarter with how you do it and connect with people. And also like forge more of a connection with a smaller group of people rather than trying to hit like the widest net possible and spread yourself thin.
That's like a branding person. When we started Brooklyn Brownie, that was the biggest trick. I say trick, people kind of pull back a bit. But in my creative side, I kind of sat down and I went, what is a John Bakery? Or what is a Lashley Brownie? Or whatever else. It means fuck all. You know, it means we know what it is. You know, John Leo's Bakery, whatever else. It's cute. I said, but it does not have the magnitude that I need this thing to have organic momentum. Initially, I said, I need to work out the box immediately. So I went, all right, most of the world's heard of Brooklyn. You know what I mean? What the fuck am I selling? Brownies? Like, you know what I mean? I was just like, sweet. And it kind of works together. And then I forgot about 5 names that I narrowed down further and further. Finally, like Leo vetted them. And then I was like, okay, cool, Brooklyn Brownie. And then I was like, a lot of people are doing code nowadays, you know what I mean? There's like, let's drop that on the end, because it's quite edgy, look how it's a bit sexy. And then accidentally I went, that's the sickest acronym for us as well, ABC. Hell, I used to work there as well. As it's so funny. I was plays on words and everything else. So I said, yeah, let's go with it. And quite a few companies, like large companies, they've ordered with us and everything else, and they love the story because we spin the story on and everything. And then when they start following us, like the person who purchased it, the same, the company follows us. They go, oh, didn't realize you were like what you are, you know, like small, like a micro. And then like, they're like, your branding is insane. You know, it makes you look a lot bigger than you are. I said, yeah, we had to. If you think about it, this was not like, oh, let's see if, you know, we could get out to the market stall and make this work. No, it was, John, you're pivoting from creative directing in London and doing all that shit in a weekend, and you're going to start selling brownies. You know what I mean? How are we going to move this way? And then so I went back to that. I said, cool, let's do it this way. We have to fake it to make it. So our appearance was a lot larger than what we were. we started this thing with like a fork and a plastic jug, you know what I mean? And that was it. And then we grew it to what it is. And from day one, people didn't know that. They're just like, okay, these cool confectionaries are popping up and the images are great and everything else. I look back at the images, I'm like, oh my God, this is gross. But people were going to men. And I know we had just a loyal customer base. And yeah, Northampton kind of really came together and got behind us.
Yeah.
That's why I know, you know, people are there.
Yeah.
They just need something to follow. They really want to help. They just want something to follow and be part of something.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it's really amazing. In other ways, it's kind of sad because I'd like to follow their journey. I'd like to help them, you know, or see what they're about. I'd like to go to their barbecue.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many people who are willing to give time, effort, and help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? As a digital person, you kind of get very jaded and you think society is very shit, very cold. If I want to tell you the truth, when, you know, they heard Leo's story, his mom took her own life and how we had to build the business almost within a weekend and pivot everything and change our lives. The support we got from people who also had situations like that in their family, just guys who had dark thoughts and things of that nature. It just really, he became everyone's little brother. Leo really quickly became that. And it helped significantly from a young man or a young boy who had to move from Milton Keynes, where his full-time was there, his school and everything else, to back to the family house in Northampton, and to start school again, make new friends, everything else, and deal with the situation, the tragedy that happened. And yeah, it was wild, but with that instance, it changed our entire outlook on society. And yeah, people are there. Unfortunately, we are just not the most communicative bunch of people. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I just wish to open up a little bit more because the loveliness is there. You know what I mean? The sentiment is there. It's just not shared on a day-to-day, I guess you could say. It's like an action. It's like, oh shit, this happened to this kid. Let's get in there and help out. Yeah. And then that dissipates. Those amazing, lovely emotions are there still, but they just need another, I guess, action to make them happen again. Where I think it could be free-flowing a bit more, because there are a lot of people who, unfortunately, there is a disconnect with society. They think, oh, everybody doesn't care about me. Yeah, I'm really proud. If you shared what your pain was, what you've gone through, there'll be a lot of people come. You know what, man? I felt a bit shit last week as well. I was close to doing whatever, and you know, or this happened to me, until like I put out a video a few months back in regards to why I wasn't putting out so much content, because we were vandalized. Quite a few things happened to us, and me and Becky, we had a miscarriage. And it was interesting because there was older people, old business owners in the area who kind of like, you know, when I met them at some of these awards dinners, they're like, I know a little bit too much about you, John. And I was like, but dude, when I talked about the miscarriage and things like the amount of guys who inboxed me, I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? And they were just like, I don't know who to talk to. Yeah, there was one guy who was just like, I think I might check out next week. You know what I mean? He was just that quiet. He's like, I haven't talked to my partner. I just don't know what to do. So I called him up and just chatted for a while, man. It's just like, it's just the way it is. It's communication. Yeah, I think we just got to get more human, dude. Absolutely. And that's about it. You know, I was just like so into myself, and I was like, shit, I'm not creating, I'm not putting out content, I'm looking terrible on social media, people asking, you know, where are you, blah, blah. And then I come on and do this whole fraudulent thing where I feel like, oh, I'm a fraud because I'm putting on this stupid face, this smile, it's not real. And then I just got to what I was going to do. I was going to be straight up with these people, and I did, and yeah, people were just like, damn. They just really got it. And I was happy I was able to help like about 6 or 7 dudes, you know, who are really struggling with that same situation. Unfortunately, guys don't talk. This is the stigma, right? Stupidest thing. Especially with something like that, when there's like miscarriages, I've realized the disconnect is a lot of people who gather around a girl, as they should. You know what I mean? But the dudes, it's just like, oh, maybe next time, maybe. You know what I mean? Or whatever, we'll figure it out. It's just like, bro, figure it out. Yeah, fucking kid is goth. You know, that was one of my futures. You know what I mean? Like a little Leo or a little Liberty. And this, as a couple, I think they need to heal. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think guys get the support they need.
No, absolutely. As like when I mentioned about the lowdown there, I was like, that's one of their problems, is they don't get a lot of guys or young, even young kids, like males ourselves, well, they're just like, no, it's fine. I should carry on the next day, hope for the best. Do you know what I mean?
And they also have the problem that, like, weirdly, they opened in 1989, and still, like, to us, like, we kind of knew of them, so it was like, again, everyone knew of them, because in our circles, people were like, and then after we did, like, a bunch of stuff with them for their new relaunch, I'd be like, oh, I've been doing this with the lowdown, and people are like, what's that? And I'm like, they're in the town centre, they're like, I thought they were kind of like one of the pillars of the community, and still people don't know of them, and that was their big problem, especially with young people not finding out about it, because I guess when you're at school or whatever, it's not, you don't go out into the real world necessarily that much, and you're kind of, you again have a little kind of its own ecosystem you're a part of, and that was their problem as well.
Well, the thing is, even when I was in school, you didn't talk about mental health. You didn't even have a counsellor to go talk to. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm 26, so.
Well, things have changed. I mean,
things have changed now. Yeah, I can. Even my sister, she went through the same program, so she had to go through school or college, and then she went through that program. So, but just shows you, man. Just mental. Absolutely.
But it's changing.
It's slightly changing.
Like you mentioned as well, like you specifically said, older business, like people being like, "Oh, you're giving away too much online." Like, I think that's shifting as well.
Step up and let bullshit.
Yeah,
it's just like, mate.
But I think that's because if you're like that, people don't connect with that anymore. If they're trying to be proper, it's like the people who are like seem to be thriving now and do that are the ones who like properly root themselves into and are open, because people are just, I think people want something that's not bullshit, right? They want a bit of authenticity. They want to actually be like, oh, okay, it's real people doing something real, not pretending to be something real, or like, there's so much just fucking.
Yeah, there was a quandary when we started as well with my background, and I went, so we make really pretty stuff, we take really great pictures, and we make really good content of the food, and I was like, oh shit, we really just put that out. There was a worry, you know what I mean, a real worry, and the real worry was from past experiences and things of that nature. It was just like, all right, okay, it's two guys, like, it's even though he's 12, I was just like, we don't fit the demographic of the area, and also that sphere, which is baking. I said most of the bakers are young, maybe 18 to 20 something, young Caucasian girls, so on and so forth. I was like, we don't fit that box. But then when everything happened, I just said, fuck the box, this is us. If you don't like what we do or like us, then unlike, don't follow. And I'm so happy that we did that, because before we were planning on a strategy of just pack shots of amazing looking food, blah blah. I went, no, this happened to us, and we're not going to stifle it. That's part of our journey. And we showed ourselves, who we are, and we, from like day one, post 2 or 3, we started to let people know who we are. This is Leo and me. This is what happened to us, and this is how we're overcoming it, and blah, blah, blah. And it's really worked well. People follow the journey, dude. And it's only now, I would say, I'd say the past 2 years or whatever else, I've seen a lot more people do the journey thing. And it works well, because you get invested, dude. You watch these people grind, you watch people do things like, oh, I'd love to watch you build this thing. You know what I mean? That video would have been sick.
No, man. So the amount of times that people said this. I know.
I've only got like £1,000 budget, and I've been quoted this, that, and the other, and you watched it. I'm like, that's sick. That would have got you more traffic than you showed off your skill.
I know, absolutely.
But that's
You're not wrong, though.
Like when we've posted, like, did a few posts specifically about the mezzos, like you did one. There was one. Those like immediately just like skyrocketed, and then like the engagement went up. Even just like every number went up, because people are like, oh, someone doing something. You know what I mean? And like you say, it's nothing to do with the services we offer, really. Obviously, it feeds into that. But yeah, it's not going, hey, look at this really amazing photo, or this really great video, or look at this. It's, people don't, we're the only ones who get to shoot it here, so it's not even relevant to like studio high people, really. It's like
100%.
It was a totally different thing. But that's the thing that everyone's like, oh my God, like mind blowing, because it's growth, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something it shows that they're investing in the right thing. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something new as well. It pulls them out of your, I guess, your standard content. So it pulls in a little bit of a new audience, maybe, if it's fair enough. But yeah, it pulls in a little bit of a new audience, and it allows people to see that you created something.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had the same thing with building a food truck, or how it was laid out, or building also the dark kitchen.
Yeah,
I love that. They're like, oh my God, you turned it from the bricks thing, just a brick mess. It's what it is. And it's just like, wow. And then we'll tell them the price. They're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Could you, and we got people work from that, these are the guys who did it. So it really works out well.
Absolutely.
It gives them a little insight into where the business is going.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, okay. And then because obviously a lot of it for us was like, okay, this is where we're at now. This is where we want to go. And trying to get people to visualize that is sometimes difficult. Like, you can't have a 3-hour conversation about your aspirations, and every time someone new comes in and be like, so we're looking to do this, and they're looking around like, well, I don't see any evidence of that, because it's like, give us 6 months and come back, but you don't have that. It's like, now it's here. It shows off different members of our sort of world we're building, even though at the moment there's 4 of us in the room, right? It's like, but you can still see, like, obviously someone had to make these and bring them here and stuff. As before, it was kind of like, yeah, Joe and Alex keep talking about how there's a community around that thing, but I keep going in, it's just Joe and Alex. And but yeah, so it's like those things, even though they're a little bit off kilter, it's
worth doing, dude.
Well.
Yeah, 100%. People love seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Which isn't a whole other kind of worms. Some people even get a bit like, I don't want to see behind the scenes, I just want to see good stuff. Some people get too bogged down on it, and then it becomes like, okay, but what are you doing apart from the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah, journey page, with products.
There's a balance.
Fine balance. You gotta show off and everything else. Yeah. There's a girl that does a really good one. She does a lot of upcycling, and she upcycles. I think she's in Australia. She upcycles bits and pieces, like bit of furniture. She'll change it into something sick. But it does feel a bit like a bit behind the scenes. But you see the amount of work she's doing to the bloody thing. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's worth £600. $600. Yeah, I get it. And then in a way, she's marketed that bloody thing to somebody, and they're gonna go buy it offline, just go for a Shopify site. But yeah, those type of things. That's the fine balance. Other people is just like, all right, this is just a little bit too much behind the scenes, bro. Where's the products? What are we buying? Are we just buying you? Or maybe you should change this from a product page to that individual's name, entrepreneur's journey page, and then get back to the product so you can feed that back. But yeah, it is a fine balance.
And it's the other thing, like in her case, it's like people probably just assume that stuff appears out of thin air.
Yeah,
people probably
100%.
Try the brownies and assume they're bought in from somewhere, and you just added a
there we go, 100%. Yeah,
it's no, that people do need it spelling out to them sometimes a little bit, because it's such a, we assume everything came from Amazon, right? And then we bought it in from here, and then we've just got our sticker on it and moved it out, and it's that's the assumption as well, and it's not the truth at all. And and that is
the thing is the amount of assumptions that happen. A lot of people think, oh, this is the journey or whatever else, where if you do strip back the curtain just a bit and kind of introduce them to, I guess, a little bit of process, they respect it a bit more. And they kind of go, wow, I've been educated, and they're like, sick, I'm part of this community now, I'll be willing to buy that. So yeah, it's worth it. I always say to people, it's worth, if you're a little business or micro business, it's definitely worth putting in a little bit of what you've done, to get to that spot. Because it breaks the content and breaks what you constantly been posting. If you've just been posting pretty pictures, whatever else, it's definitely worth to kind of go, oh, cool, this is how we brought this product to market. And people just love that. They go, oh, sick, crazy.
Cool. That's a good way to end it.